Welcome to another episode of Teens Talk with Nifemi podcast. It's your host, Nifemi, and I'm so happy to be here once again. I hope you're doing fine and I hope you're doing good too. Last week's episode, we talked about navigating your identity, and I had a guest speaker, Wemimo, on that particular episode. And I really enjoyed recording that episode. And this is me telling you that if you have not listened to it yet, you should please listen to it because the episode is about finding out who you truly are, finding out your identity. Because sometimes most people don't know who they are, and because of that, there are issues like self doubt, insecurity, and all that. So please listen to the episode and be blessed. So I'm here to talk about our podcast anniversary, which is on the 31st of October. It's coming soon, and there are a lot of plans, giveaways, a lot basically. And if you have not joined our community yet, you will not be a participant of the giveaway. Yeah, so if you have not joined, please join. I would love to have you in the community. That being said, let's get to see the business of today. Welcome back from that short break, guys. So, today we're going to be talking about a really interesting and important topic. The topic is handling depression, and depression is an issue that affects people a whole lot, and it's something people find it hard to get out of. And I did not want to talk about this topic alone, so I invited a guest speaker to talk with us. Her name is Temiloluwa Oladele Asagunla. Hi, Temi.
Hi, good
Please,
morning.
how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
So please, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself? Tell us what you do.
Okay, I'm Temiloluwa Oladele Asagunla. I am a 300 level biomedical engineering student of Asagunla University. I am a writer and author, and I'm also the president and founder of Girl Code Nigeria.
So can you please tell us about what Girl Code Nigeria is about?
Okay.
And what inspired you to start it up?
Okay, so Girl Code Nigeria is an organization I founded to help equip young ladies mentally. Our goal is basically to empower ladies mentally for them to be independent, and to stand above societal limitations. And for what inspired me, I would say God inspired me to create Girl Code because I founded Girl Code at a point in my life where God was taking me through some personal development, identity crisis, and personal finding. You get my point? And then, in taking me through that, He gave this assignment to me to help other people also launch their own self-evolving, self-emerging journey. So that's like what I would describe my inspiration for Girl Code as.
I really like the initiative of Girl Code because I feel I attended a particular discussion on Twitter space.
Yes.
And then I think I saw it on one of a friend's link. Then I decided to join.
It was the one on self-esteem.
Yes, self-esteem, yes. And I decided to join, and while following the discussion, then I went to the Twitter page of Girl Code. I saw what it was about, and I was so impressed, and I was so eager to join because anything that has to do with impacting young minds, impacting people, making them feel good about themselves, empowering them, I'm always so eager to join. And ever since I joined, it has been an amazing journey. So I must say, well done.
Thank you very much.
May God continue to bless you and uphold you.
Amen.
So, how do you feel about being on today's podcast, and what is your thought on the topic to be talked about today?
Okay, for how I feel on today's podcast, I feel very much humbled. I would like to say thank you, Nifemi.
You're welcome.
For bringing me up here. I think for every opportunity that I have to speak, I see it as a privilege, to really inspire people and share my journey. So I feel very much humbled. I feel very much privileged to be here to speak to young minds or everybody listening to me. And on the topic depression, it's one that really resonates with me because I've gone through this particular phase before in my life, and speaking on it, creating awareness about it, I believe it's very, very needed. It's very necessary because it's not something that is well spoken about in this part of our world. We we actually neglect mental wellness.
Yeah.
You get, I feel like we focus more on physical wellness. Oh, I just want to eat, I just want to eat and just be fat. I just want to do this one, I just want to do that one. You get my point? Forgetting that productivity, purpose fulfillment, you actually achieving what God has called you to be requires you to be mentally well, physically well, emotionally well, spiritually well. The Bible says presenting yourself body, soul, and spirit preserved before God. So everything, every tool of your body, every tool of your mind is needed for you to attain your fullest self. And it's something that is usually neglected in this part of our world. So talking about it is actually very needed. Depression is very urgent and it's something that needs to be spoken about.
So can you educate us on what depression is about?
Okay, for me personally, I would say that depression is a phase that you get to once you've exaggerated the low times of your life. You need to understand that life is in phases. Life is like a flowing river. You get my point? There are times that life will be so good to be in, and there are times that life will be so low. So when we are in we humans, we tend to just want comfort most times. And once you are not comfortable, people that now dwell in their discomfort and exaggerate it and elongate it and seem not to come out of it begins to enter a dead end. And I will call this depression because you're already at a phase whereby you feel worthless, you feel hopeless, you feel like you cannot do anything productive. You are withdrawing from your normal, usual life activities. You are taking off your dreams and aspirations. You do not even want to be around people. And it's not even like in your isolation, you are productive, you are still even unproductive. That's depression. You are just mentally disoriented. You're not mentally well. You get my point? And you cannot you don't just know why, but there are actually some things that have actually triggered this move of yours. It could be societal pressure, it could be bereavement, you lost a loved one, you get my point. It could be a disappointment, it could be you wanting something so bad and not getting it. And from research, I got to know that sometimes depression can span from being passed down from your parents, so it can be inherited. I don't know, from what I read, they said scientists are still trying to find out very, very obvious causes, of obvious triggers of depression, but we can just link some things to what can launch you into that space. And that's what depression is about.
Thank you so much for that. And you were already discussing the causes or triggers. So can you expatiate more, in the aspect of pressure? Can you explain how that causes depression?
Okay, for pressure, I'm going to use myself as an example. So in the year 2021, I was technically very depressed, and it was because of the pressure and toxicity of my environment. So a lot of people wanted so much from me. There's this way that the world wants you to conform to their own standards. You get my point? And they wanted me to, you are studying medicine, you must pass. I'm not saying you should fail, but everybody just expects you to not make a mistake. You get my point? And that's so unrealistic, because life in itself will not always go your own way. You always make mistakes, and they are just so pressuring you to not make a mistake, to be all perfect. They relegate some people that don't fit to their standard, and they celebrate some people that they feel are right and fit to their standard. We have if you don't have a car or a house, you have not made it in life. They've just found a way to define success. And there's just a lot of pressure of people wanting to conform to society's standards, wanting to not disappoint people, rather than first not disappointing yourself in not fulfilling who you have been called to be. So pressure is actually the most obvious reason for being depressed. Pressure is actually the most obvious reasons, because you are just so pressured and then you get to be overwhelmed. And once things are not working in the way you expect them to work, you are just so down, and you begin to reach a dead end when it's now so consistent, and you get everything is just so not working. So yeah, that's what I'll
Yeah.
just
Thank you so
post
much for
there.
expatiating on that. How would you advise someone going through depression? How will you advise the person to get out of it? Because I noticed that once someone already feels that they are depressed, they already know that they have reached that dead end. Not
Mm-hmm.
all of them know that they can get out of it. They just feel that that's just the end of the world. I'm depressed and so be it. Since there's nothing I can do about it. So how do you feel someone can get out of it?
Okay, so I like the fact that you mentioned that most people they know that they have a problem, but they don't know how to get out of it, or they just zero their mind that they will never get
Yeah,
out of it. The thing is, now let me now shock you that even most people don't know that they have a problem.
yeah,
Most people don't know that they are depressed. They just know that they are just down. They have constant mood swings. You get my point?
yeah,
They have constant mood swings. They feel like they are just worthless. They don't just like they just see the symptoms.
yeah.
They cannot really tag it as, oh, I'm already depressed, because they are not fully aware of what this thing is all about. You get my point? So I would say that for those that don't know, if you are having symptoms like, oh, you are feeling worthless, you're not enough, you're trying to withdraw from people, this and that, just know that, let me just diagnose it, you are already in the stage of depression. You get my point? And let me now tell you that you can overcome it. It's not the end of life. Everybody, sometime in their lives, will get into low times, and sometimes it will be so bad that you might feel like you cannot get out of it. But let me tell you, there is nothing you cannot get out of in this life. You will always get out of it. And so, in ways of getting out of it now, I'm going to be very practical, and I'm going to share my story. Um, so when I entered depression in 2021, I think one turning point for me was me knowing that I had a problem.
Yeah.
So the very first way of you getting out of depression is, first and foremost, admit. Don't be delusional about it. Admit to yourself that you have a problem and you need help. That's the first thing. Now, once you've admitted to yourself that you have a problem and you need help, what is the second thing? The second thing is for you to seek help. Now, seeking help is now where it becomes difficult in this part of our world, because we do not give awareness on the importance of therapy, of nobody's even ready to give you a listening ear. Everybody's just on their own. You get my point? Parents don't even want to understand how to be there for their children. They just believe that once I've paid your school fees, that you want to, because that was something my dad told me. I'm only to pay your school fees, that you want to determine the course of your life. That was something my father told me, and I just had to still seek help because I needed help. You get my point? So now you have to seek help, and in seeking help, you need to start. Okay, should I go for therapy? Should I? Who can I voice out to and will listen to me and will help me? Not just talk me down or talk rubbish or try to invalidate my emotions, because emotions are meant to be processed. The feeling of depression is meant to be processed. It's not meant to be shut down, because if you shut it down, it will always come out the other time. So who can I speak to? Or do I need to do this one? Do I need to do that one? And you just begin to seek help. For me now, my parents were not all that good when it comes to listening. In fact, it was one of their concerns. You get my point? And even my friends, nobody was understanding what I was going through, because I tried to seek advice and validation from friends. I tried to find validation in things, maybe even if it was drinking or something like that, but it was not really working. And yeah, I just knew that okay, there's nobody understanding who I'm going to be. So I decided to take a break from school then, took a gap year. My parents were not good, they were not cool about it, but I did not care because I was already at a dead end. So I decided to take a break from school then, and I came home, and then I think I started to get close to God, and I started to meet people that were drawing me out of it. You understand my point? As I was expressing, because the thing is, once you are depressed, you need to express. You need to let people know what is going on there. Don't just keep to yourself. Your mind will be telling you that, oh, you have to sit down in your room now, keep to yourself. But don't allow your mind, fight it. Express yourself to people that you know that will rescue you from that phase you are going through. Once you begin to express yourself, they begin to help you draw out of it. They begin to engage you, and by engaging you, you begin to come out of it. So, yeah, those are like ways in which I think I can advise anybody that is going through. First and foremost, admit that you're having a problem. Seek solutions from everywhere possible until you begin to see changes. Yeah, and open up yourself to the help that people are giving to you or that you have found. Open up yourself and be willing to let go of whatever it is triggering that depression in you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You mentioned that there was a time you felt depressed. And can you like share your experience? What happened, how it came about, and how you were able to get over it?
Okay, I was trying as much as possible not to get deep into the story. So yeah, let's get into it. So the thing is, I'm this kind of person that I have so many expressions, right? And I will say that one thing that I've learned over time is, as a person, you need to really learn yourself before taking some bold steps in your life, which I did not do. So I have so many expressions. I'm very brilliant. I sing, I can do law, I can do anything. Like, put me in any space, I can do when it comes to having a career. But when it comes to that thing that God has even made me to do, I was so confused on it. And my parents, because of the way they thought I was blind, they suggested that I go into medical line. Every Nigerian parent want their child to be a medical doctor or a lawyer. You get my child. I went to science class, then I gained admission to study medicine in 2018, and then I said that its 100 level was cool. I still doing the normal 100 level courses, so good results, cool. But when I said the medical courses, I just said, I don't think I'm supposed to be here, because I was feeling confined. It was more like my spirit was opposing where I was. And then my dad was a stakeholder in my school then. So many people were like just pressurizing me, like so many eyes were on me. They wanted to be controlling, they wanted to control my life. Oh, how will you be doing this? Oh, you cannot do this one. You cannot wear this makeup. You cannot do that one. Like, it was just so. And I'm not this kind of person that you can just confine. And you cannot disrespect these people because they are adults.
Yeah.
You can't tell your parents this because they will not even understand. So it was like I was keeping so many things like inside that I could not voice out. And I began to shut down. I was so overwhelmed that I began to shut down. And that's the thing. And I even tried to speak to some people. They were still shutting me down. I began to withdraw until it was just bad. And then I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to school again. So there was those particular Wednesday. I stopped going to classes before even this time. I stopped going to classes. I started overreacting on the most very, very insignificant things. It was so bad that even during COVID, a lot of things happened with my family that even added to school pressure again. It was just so terrible. I did not just even know what to do. I was just processing a lot of things. Not like I was processing, I was just stuck. You get my point? And then when I resumed for my 300 level, I think close to going to writing my professional exams or something like that, when I resumed and all like that, I was just so unproductive. There was even a friend of mine that told me that I was oblivious, and I was like, I was just so angry. You get that kind of thing. And then when that happened, I just said to leave school. I'm like, I'm not going to school again. I'm not doing anything again. I'm not going to start. And my parents were not happy about it, but I did not care, because it was my business. Let me just be sitting down hopeless. You get my point? I prefer to sit down and eat than to go and be with anybody or be in a place that will still continue making me feel down. You get my point? So I just left school and I did all and all. And yeah, that was like the whole phase of depression for me.
So how did you get out of it? What was the turning point for you?
The turning point for me was, like I said, me knowing that I had a problem and me leaving school. So at that point, when I saw that my dad was not listening to me. They were not getting the signals that this girl needed help mentally. I started to devise ways myself to get out of it. So the ways I started to devise was I made research, because I was still feeling like it was medicine I was supposed to study. So I made research that, okay, since I cannot do the medicine here in Nigeria, that I would like to go abroad to study medicine. So I started saying, I was trying to convince my father, you get that kind of thing that you just wind them to make me write international exams. So I wrote SAT and I wrote IELTS and I passed very well. So me passing was like, okay, yes, I'm going to leave now. So I started applying to schools abroad. And all. I started doing that, writing applications, doing a lot of things, and then they were giving me admission, but money was not coming forth. And all. So it was kind of like slow and hard. And even the time that money now came forth, my visa got denied. You get my point? That was even another total setback again. So it was just like, okay, me trying to run away from this thing. Like, my decision to go abroad was a way of running away from my environment. Whereas more of my depression phase was coming from my inside. So the thing that God did for me here was, in my being at home for that 1 year and some months, it made me learn myself. You get my point? And learning myself started from when I started taking God very seriously. Now I'm talking from my own personal experience. I knew I had a problem, and then the place I found peace, the place I found a sense of purpose was in the church. So I started taking God seriously. I would go to church. As I just found my new church, the church I attend now. I just found the church, so I would go there, I would listen, and all thanks to like my pastors, that's Pastor and Lugiola Igogo. They knew how to really break God's word in a way that it was very relatable for we young people. So I remember I would go to church and even Bible study. I would sit down, and the way they would break the word for me was not something I was used to, and it sparked my curiosity, And then I just wanted to keep like learning more about God. I wanted to submit to Him, and I wanted to just learn and just find myself in Him. And as I started reading the Word, I would ask some questions from people that were around me, and they were ready to groom me, And then I started finding myself. I started finding more essence in life, more facts about life. Like my mind was just opening up, and then I started to engage. Now that's the thing. In dealing with depression, number one, you have to know that there's a problem, and you need to seek help from God and from people around you. And then once you are doing this, it comes an intentional point where you need to start engaging in all those things that God is pouring into you, that people are pouring into you. So as they were pouring into me, my pastors, people and everything, I started to engage in the new life that I've found. I don't know if you get my point. I started to engage in the history of my roots, where I was coming from, who I was, where I'm going, and where I am currently. I started to get to know so many great women of God. Sometimes I would sit down and listen to like a 2-hour message or 1-hour message, just educating me, because the essence of you coming out of depression is to remind yourself of who you are. You get my point? So I started to engage in knowing who I was, in learning who I was, in leading myself to fulfill things. And as I started to engage in those things, it was bridging the gap of my depression. It was bridging that gap. And the thing you must note about dealing with depression is a process. It's not immediate. So you have to stay true to that process. As people are pouring into you, as God is telling you things about yourself, okay, you used to sin before, and I sent my son to die for you. So this is who I've now called you to become. You need to be engaging in that. You need to tell yourself that, oh, I am not weak, I am strong. You need to be around people that will tell you to, even when your strength is failing you. Because there was a particular time like that we had a devotion at home, and then my daddy was just abusing me and I was just talking to me, and I was crying. I cried to Riaz. And in that point, my music director was like, no, that kind of thing that you tell me, I know you will set your mind and you will do whatever God has told you to do. You are a strong lady. Nobody can do what you are doing. No young person your age can do what you are doing. And he was telling me, if you knew what that did to my mind, my heart, being around the right people, to company, it matters. So the first thing I did was serve God, seek God in your depression. For me, I could not go to therapy, but I sought God. I wanted to get serious with God because I felt like humans were not giving me what I needed. So the only person I could talk to was my source, God. And in seeking God, in surrendering myself to him, and as he was helping me find myself, I started to engage in the knowledge he was really releasing onto me. I started to practicalize and make them a reality. And even when I was weak, my company was there for me.
Yeah.
So I started to surround myself among people that would help me remind myself constantly. And I'm still reminding myself, even as I'm in a better place right now, constantly of who I was and what I could do and how I could help myself even become better, how I could build character, how I could build a lot of things. And it was really helping me come out of that depression phase. That was how I was able to overcome depression. It was really helping me come out of that depression phase and all. And I'm really grateful for where I was today. It was even in me engaging with my self-development and my self-learning that I was able to create Girl Code. I was able to write my first book.
Yeah.
You get my point? Because I started finding essence in life, and I was able to inspire others. Because as others saw that, even my friends in medical school said that Temi is already finding herself. How somebody just live? They felt like maybe I'm going to turn out miserable. I don't know. And you see that I'm just living my best life. How are you doing it? And I started telling my friends, oh, it was God, it was this. I started giving myself to self-development. I started letting nothing dilute me and distract me. And that's the thing. Once you launch into your phase of self-learning and self-development, let nothing dilute you. Because the world has a way of still choking the little knowledge that you have received. In the Bible, God was saying that when a sower was sowing a seed, and some seeds fell on good ground, some fell on things that would choke them. So the thing is that your phase of self-development is God and people pouring into you. You shouldn't now do yourself a disservice by going into a place that will choke you or choke whatever you are receiving. So as I was receiving those things, I was intentional. I was so focused on my self-depression that I was not seeing any other disadvantage. I was not seeing any other how do I say it now? Distraction that the devil was bringing. I wanted to just get to know what this phase. I wanted to just get to be better. And that's why you see me sitting down for a 2-hour message or 1-hour message or a YouTube video that will take me through things, or you see me reading books, or you see me wanting to learn under people that knew so much. And yeah, that was just how I was able to manage my depression process, and a lot of people are coming to the light of who I was, and I am so comfortable with who I am now. Like anything I want to do, I set my mind to do it because God, I believe that God is on my side, and that's why who you believe in and what you believe in matters a lot in your healing process.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I know this story is going to inspire others, even as it has been inspiring other people. And there was also a time that I was also in my low moment. I felt confined. I just lost who I was at that point. And like you said, my own case was that I did not know the problem. I did not know I was depressed.
You were just feeling down.
I just knew I was feeling down. I was getting disinterested in a lot of things. Sometimes I'll even be in class and I'll just get so lost in thought. I won't be listening to what the lecturer was saying. I was just lost. I began to doubt myself, who I was academically. I did not even all my achievements, I just threw them away, and I just felt like I was nothing. So that day in class, instead of me to be listening to lectures, I chatted my mom up. I was like, Mommy, are you proud of me? I did not even know why I did that, but I just felt like I needed to do that. And African parent, she was panicking. She called me immediately after the class. She was like, what's going on? I was like, Mommy, I'm feeling this kind of way. I don't know what's going on with me. And she told me that she was proud of me. She started telling me that there was no need for me to feel that way, that she's very proud of me, that I'm making them proud.
I'm very lucky, to be honest.
And after that call, my dad also called.
Wow.
And he also spoke to me. He also talked to me that he's providing me with everything. I don't need to worry, and they will always be proud of me no matter what.
No matter what.
And
that's deep.
He also called his friends to also call me.
Serious?
You know that kind of feeling when you know that these people actually care about you. And at that point in time, I was actually getting to know more about myself. And during that phase of being in the deep end, I was thinking of committing suicide
Yes,
because
that's the
I just
thing.
felt fed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, let me just end everything because I don't see the point. And it's not all my friends that actually knew what was going on with me, because it was not something I could just say, because I did not even understand.
You don't even know.
Yes. And they all felt, oh, okay, maybe it's just a
She's
normal mood
overreacting.
swing.
Why you always
It's just,
having mood
yes,
swings?
that kind of
Some people
thing.
even be getting angry.
Yes,
you know.
And because of that, I was like, nobody will understand. Let me just keep it to myself.
Yes, that's the thing. Our
Yes.
society is not aware. That's why it needs to be spoken about.
Yes.
They are not aware that mental wellness needs to be taken seriously. They don't even know how to help somebody that you see that is going through. You get my point. You see that for you to know that the level of ignorance and illiteracy is so bad. You see somebody clearly going through something emotionally, and the next thing is you are getting angry at that person because she's not giving you attention. You get my point? I can say this because I've done that before when I was not aware. You get my point? So it's now when the person was not telling me that I'm going through this, and I'm like, I feel like a bad person. Most of us, and you cannot really blame your friends.
Actually,
you can't really blame them. The world has been programmed. Our society, so to say, Nigerian society, has been programmed in such a way that they believe that you have to just be, you have to, now survival of the fittest.
yes,
everybody got it for themselves. Wish you they do mental health, you go there alright. Everybody died on that mental health problem. That kind of thing. There's so much inhuman in people, and it's not supposed to be so. We all need to build. The Bible says we need to build up each other. You understand my point? And you know the dead ends of, because you mentioned something about suicide. The way depression is so terrible, if not properly managed, people begin to go into self-harm. And suicide. You get my point? And it's so terrible because they don't have somebody they can speak to, because nobody can relate to their story. It's not even good if it's not even expected that you relate to somebody. At least be a listening ear. You be able to say some things, even if you cannot, be able to refer these people to somebody that can help them through their phase if they really want to be helped. You get my point? So I really could relate when you were saying that. And the thing I want to actually emphasize the fact that I like the fact that it's coming from both ends now. You had your parents, you had people to really encourage you in your self-development or self-awareness journey. Because the thing about depression is you need somebody to constantly remind you of who you are. That's why you are depressed. You just need to have a sense of purpose. You need to feel a void in your heart. And for those that have people that can remind them, tell you congratulations. You are very lucky. But there's some people that don't have people that can remind them. So those people, what are they going to do? For me, I'm going to tell those people to just get close to God, because I had to get close to God. I had to find a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose in God. And He now took me to people that could consistently help me in that assignment as much as He's helping me. You get my point? So it goes both ways. Either ways, I just want everyone that is listening to know that seek help. Seek help. Either from God. No, even from God first and foremost. And then He will give you the right people. It will shock you to know that your parents, God was one that brought them to help you in that aspect. God was one that made you. I don't know, maybe you've been praying about it and God has been seeing you. God was one that made you to send your mommy that text. Do you get my point? Everything is centered on God. So seek God, trust God, and trust His timing. Trust Him so much. And then once you trust God, He would always help you through that phase of your depression.
I will also say that it's not all my friends that knew, because I don't think I was willing to share at that time.
You will not be willing to share because you will feel like nobody can relate.
Yes, nobody can relate. And sometimes most of them will come, what is wrong? Nothing.
You will not be able to.
And they'll be like, okay, let me just leave her. But then I had someone who was always, they noticed that this is not the normal Nifemi. They noticed something was wrong. And this person kept on reminding me that, Nifemi, you have achieved a lot. Nifemi, you have a podcast. Because at that time, I was getting low plays in a particular episode that I released. So I was like, what's the point of even this podcast? So he reminded me, you have a podcast. and it is blessing lives. People are listening to it. If
Yes.
you have other achievements, other things that you have done, and then I began to become self-aware. And at that point in time, when I was depressed, I lost my communication with God. My Bible study was not the same. I found it difficult to pray. And then when I started to become better, I went back to God. I poured out all my mind to Him.
You see, it was
I poured
God.
out my heart
God
to
literally
Him.
drew, and that's the thing about the love of God.
Yeah.
He found a way to use people to draw you back to Himself.
Yes.
And I wanted to say something. You know, you were saying something that you were having low likes on one of your podcasts. That's the thing. We forget that anything that God has committed into our hands to do, podcasting, health coach, anything that it's a journey of process. You don't just blow once. And that's the thing with societal pressure. Oh, this one is already making it. This one is already buying car. This one is already having house. I want to make it fast. I want to start having 1,000 million likes on my distance fast. Forgetting that these people went through processes. They went through highs and lows. We get to where they are today. Yeah, and I wanted to emphasize something that even when you start having a vision, when you start coming out of your depression and all, understand the fact that life is a process. So that you will not go back to that your depression phase. Life is a process. Life is God will make everything beautiful in His own time. All you need to do is stay true to the process. Keep developing. Keep making sure that you are doing things the right way. And a time will come whereby God will just make it so beautiful. And every other process, every experiences, every pain, every mistake, everything that you have to go through will make sense and will form part of the process. It will form part of the puzzle pieces that will now give you the bigger picture of who you are. The journey of self-learning and self-knowing is a journey to a bigger picture. You don't stop learning yourself. You don't stop knowing yourself. You keep putting things together. Bad experiences, mistakes. And people forget that there's a way the world has made failure feel like the end of the world. The way the world has made mistakes feel like the end of the world. My mentor, somebody I really love so much, Sarah Jakes, she literally got pregnant at the age of 14. A normal church will have, first of all, remove her parents from deaconess, then they will ostracize her from the church. She made a mistake, but look at who she is today. And her mistake, imagine her mistake is the story she has built on to inspire people. You see how mistake can be so powerful. You get my point? So that's the thing. Mistakes are part of life. Failure. I lost my visa last year. That did not mean I should sit down there and start saying that. What my daddy was like, yeah, way forward. Okay, go to school, continue. Masters, you can still go out. You can still travel out. You get my point? I did not dwell on it. It was bad. I cried. Process your pain, but don't dwell in your pain. Process your experiences. Learn from past mistakes, but don't dwell on it. Oh, I will never forgive this person. To show people that person was supposed to watch you, that you will learn one or two things. You get my point? For you to be who you are today. There are some people that were meant to hurt me, and I've learned one or two things, and I'm using it to inspire lives today. You get my point? I've made silly, terrible mistakes, and I've learned from them. And I'm laughing self. I'm laughing over the mistakes I made because I'm using it to inspire lives today. And I'm using it to make sure that people don't fall victim of what I have fallen victim of. You get my point?
So do you have a special advice for our listeners out there?
Okay, for advice, I think one thing I'm going to say, I'm just going to be saying them at random as the Holy Spirit leads me. And the very first thing I want to say is life is life. And it will be foolish of you to base your life on the flow of life. You need to take charge of your life, understanding that life is life. So when life brings the low side, you are still very much okay, and you are still in pace with your vision and the purpose of God for your life. And when life brings the fun part, you are grateful and you are still in pace. You understand my point? The thing is, once you are void of emotions, you begin to become productive in life. Once you understand that this low time I'm going through, I'm sad, yes, but this too shall pass. You get my point? Then you begin to be more productive. It's more like people's validation don't define you. You get my point? Being not motivated don't define you. You get my point? Being misunderstood does not define you. In fact, you love being misunderstood. Because the thing is that once you are trying to change the status quo, Because people of vision, they tend to change the status quo. People will misunderstand you. You get my point? People will be threatened by you, and they will do everything possible to bring you down. They will do everything possible to talk you down and make you feel like whatever you are doing is not making any sense. But make sure that you are so comfortable and aware of who God has made you to be, that you take charge of your own life and do whatever God wants you to do, whatever He puts in your heart. And you are not only, and you begin to launch yourself into a mindset whereby you are not even limited by physical resources, because we're talking about vision. Vision is seeing beyond your environment. Vision is seeing beyond what other people are seeing. Vision is making things happen in scarcity. You understand my point? So you begin to launch yourself into a mindset of growth and vision, whereby you know that even as I'm doing this thing, provision will be made. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then as you are doing that, you are beginning to work on yourself, you are beginning to explore yourself, and beginning to develop yourself in a way that you fulfill that vision. So what I'm going to say to people is, start taking charge of your life. Stop seeking validation from people. Stop basing your life on emotions. Oh, I'm sad, then I shut down everything that I'm supposed to do for the day. Okay, how do I get out of this sadness? You get my point? How do I don't depend on people to come and make you get out of sadness. Oh, okay, I am hurt. How do I heal? Take intentional steps to heal. You get my point? Okay, I need this particular thing to achieve this dream. How do I do this? Okay, I need to have a career to fund my purpose. You understand? There's a clear difference between career and purpose. Let's get that straight. Your career is a platform in which you can fulfill your purpose. For example, now, I'm studying nursing. My purpose is to talk to people. And when I talk to you, your life is just going to be transformed. I can use my nursing to fund that part of me being a speaker. I can use my nursing to talk to my patients, to give them hope and life. Your career is very, 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 very different from your purpose. So yeah, take charge of your life. That's what I'm just going to say. Take charge of your life. Let no one define you except God. And make sure that you are so close to the visionaire of your life, so that it can constantly reveal things about your life unto you. And then make sure that whenever God says you should go, you are going. And whenever when He says you should come, you are coming. You get my point? And you are so comfortable being misunderstood. And you are, whenever opposition comes, you face it head square. Like, you get my point? Like, you face it and you come out of it knowing that you will come out of it victorious. So that's what I'm just going to charge everyone listening.
Thank you so much for that advice, because I actually feel you're also speaking to me too. And I'm going to take that and work on that. So before we round up today's episode, as an author, I would like you to tell our listeners about your book and how we can get access to it.
Okay, so I have one book already published and I have one ongoing publishing. The one that I have already published is known as Direction, A Journey Out of Guilt and Fear. I wrote that describing my own journey out of guilt, out of depression, out of fear in 2021 when I left school. That was when I wrote that. And it's fictional, it's short, about 33 pages, highly insightful. And it's telling you about the story of a man who, was down, had this void in his heart, and needed something to fill it. And he was even using the drugs, he was using the girls, the smoking and everything to fill that void. And he noticed that all those things were like temporary, and then he got to find something to fill it. You discover that when you read the book. You get my point? So yeah, Direction is very good. I advise that every young person should read Direction. It's very, very good. And then for the second book, that is Are You Truly Beautiful? That's the title of the book. It's something I'm working on to launch young people into having a growth mindset and character building, because these are things that will help you on your becoming and your transformational journey. So it will be out. I'm going to stay it out. And to get the book, you can actually reach out to me. The book goes for 2,000 naira. That's for Direction. It's only available on soft copy for now. So you will reach out to me once you pay. I send it to your email, or you can use a seller link. I think I will send it to you. So people can actually buy. People used to complain that the seller link is too go through a lot of processes. So you can just send the 2,000 naira to me, and then I send you the book and you read, and you give me your reviews as well and how it has influenced your life.
I really want to get that book, and I'm definitely going to get it because I would love to read it. And I'm employing all my listeners to actually take out time to get the book, and I'm assuring you that you'll be blessed by it. And I'll also be posting the link for Girl Code Nigeria. It's a
Yes.
community that you should really join because you are really
Yeah.
going to gain a whole lot from it.
Yeah, and the thing I want to talk about is Girl Code is actually expanding very
Yeah.
soon. We just got our registration to work as a company,
Hmm.
and it's going to be a company that is going to be so involved in the emerging of women and
Yeah.
of children and even men. Like we're trying to
Okay.
expand to make sure that everybody understands themselves
Yeah.
and everybody contributes their own quota to the life that they are finding themselves. You see, we are lights. We are a city set upon the hill that cannot be hidden.
Mm.
And God has placed us here on earth to shine our light. You know, to know Him and make Him known. You understand my point? And so that is something that Girl Code wants to do, and it's going to be changing. It's not going to be Girl Code anymore. It's going to be Dev Me now, Develop
Okay.
Me Limited.
Mm.
So it's now a company. So I just wanted to put that out there
Yeah.
so everybody knows what's cooking.
It's a really good initiative,
Yeah,
and this is me praying for you that God is going to see you through
Amen.
every single thing you plan to do as
Amen.
regarding Devin.
Amen.
And I'll also be posting a link. Feel free to connect with her. She's a
Yeah.
really amazing person. She's God sent, and she's full of so much wisdom because this
Jesus.
session is just mind blowing.
Oh, thank you.
And you should really listen to the episode.
Thank
So it's a wrap concerning this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really hope you are able to gain one or two from this episode, and I hope you are blessed by it. I love you guys so much, but remember, God loves you more. Bye.
Bye.